Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sandy here, back again. How you all doing? I hope you're doing great. It's a very cold afternoon here in the United Kingdom. Really chilled, although I wish it was warm, but yeah, life still goes on. How you all doing? I hope you're all doing great. I'm really happy to be back on your screens. We've got about 300 extra people joining us since my last video, and I'm really grateful. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you who are new here on this channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing because we do nothing but spill good productive tea on this channel. Today is going to be sort of like a story time. I haven't really given you guys story times, so just sit back and relax. Get yourself a cup of tea, a cup of drink, water, just relax and enjoy the video. I'm going to do a video which took me quite a while to decide to film because of people who might not agree with me. But the whole point of this video is to share with you guys my experience and what I think, because I had the opportunity to live in the United States, and here are my observations and why I decided to relocate from the United States back to the United Kingdom. So if you're interested in anything about this, keep on watching. Okay, welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you love what you see. Okay, so let's jump right into the tea. So throughout my life in uni, I had the opportunity to visit the United Kingdom because I had, those days it was called the working visa. I had the opportunity to get that visa. So United Kingdom was the very first abroad, if you'd call it, that I visited, and I grew to love the culture and everything about the United Kingdom. I love the way the people are. I love the culture. I just loved everything about here. But after uni and after I finished my national service, while I was working in Ghana, I had an opportunity to go to the United States to practice social work, which was the course that I'd actually studied in university. I didn't have any opportunity to practice social work in Ghana when I finished uni. So I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity. America, land of opportunity. Like, I couldn't wait to get my visa, you know, to travel to the United States to explore this new opportunity that was awarded me. We were quite a number of people that went for the interview on the day that I did. We were a lot. And the day that I went for my interview, there was 20 of us, and out of the 20, it was only 3 of us that got the visa. Just remembering the heartbreaking moment when, you know, I was going for the interview and I saw my mates being refused, but, you know, I got the visa. I felt really lucky, to be honest, because, gosh, I'm going to talk about going to the American Embassy in another video. If you're interested in that, just comment below, and I'm more than happy to, you know, speak to you guys about my first experience at the American Embassy. So all things went well. I got my visa. We were talked into understanding that going into the US was, you know, an opportunity to build my work experience around what I studied in school. So the very first blow that got me like, okay, I was actually bamboozled. If I say bamboozled, I mean we were deceived into thinking that we're actually going to practice social work, when in actual sense, when we went to the US, we were made to do care work. And the sort of environment where I was working was back home in Africa, you call it something like a Boston Institute, something like that, where, you know, you care for kids that have very difficult backgrounds and homes. So the first reason why I left the US was because my reason for going there, first of all, was defeated by the course coordinators who weren't honest enough to tell us why we were there. These are my opinions. Like I said, America is a very, very beautiful, I call it a continent because it is made up of so many, you know, different people from different cultures come together in, you know, it's bigger than a country because it's as big as Africa, you know. It's a very, very powerful, massive country. Like, America is beautiful. But these are the things that happened that just didn't sit well with me, that made me have to make the decision to leave the US. So the first one was being deceived into the environment that I found myself in. And one main thing that, you know, stood out where I was working was the negative vibe in the workplace. It just wasn't great. It wasn't my very first job, but while I was working in the UK, I saw more positivity, I saw more support, and I saw more bosses trying to make you the better version of yourself, as opposed to the negative work ethic that was where I was working. Like, everyone was selfish. It was sort of like each one for himself, God for us all sort of thing. And everyone was thinking about protecting themselves from getting into trouble rather than doing the right thing. It was so toxic, guys. Like, it's unbelievable. So it just wasn't great. It just wasn't great. The second thing that got me really, really scared of the US. I remember when I went to Philadelphia. I was based in New Jersey, and I remember going to Philadelphia to visit my friend. Where I was in New Jersey was a bit, you know, quiet, and it wasn't really a big city, so there wasn't much there. But when I went into Philly, it was a more busy place. So we decided to go to the Chinese restaurant to grab some food. And then I went into the Chinese restaurant just waiting to get my order, and I saw something that shocked me. It shocked me to the bone. Like, it was unbelievable. I saw the security guard in the restaurant holding a gun. Oh my God. Guys, I have never seen a thing like this in my life. Even the police officers in the United Kingdom don't walk about with guns on them. So it was so strange. Just a mere takeaway would have a security guard holding a gun. Immediately I became uncomfortable and I had to leave the place. So it got me thinking about so many things, like a gun, like what if something goes wrong and this bullet, no. I just felt uncomfortable immediately, and that was it for me. I had an impression in my mind like, this place is not safe. Guys, it is scary because this is not what I'm used to. I know you might have a different opinion. Like I said, this is my opinion and this is what I think based off my experience. Okay, so if I'm looking down here, sorry, I've got a list of things so I don't forget what I'm saying. The next thing that really, really burst the bubble for me, while I was working, my parents came to visit me in the United States. So I was based in New Jersey, like I said, but we planned the holiday that we meet in Las Vegas, Nevada state. So I went there first, and then I had to go and meet up my parents in the, you know, at the airport to pick them up to the apartment that we had rented for a holiday. So I went to the airport to get my dad, and guess what, guys? I had my very, very first accident my whole life in Las Vegas, Nevada. Guys, talking about it even still gives me panic attacks because I started driving at the age of 16, and even in Ghana, I had never been, you know, involved in any sort of accident. And my very first that happened in the States really, really had a toll on me. And this happened just on the first day of my holiday. I had an accident at a runabout in Las Vegas, and it was so heartbreaking, and it really, really affected me so badly. I was having so much panic attacks. I didn't enjoy my holiday. I wasn't myself. Everything was just a mess, guys. It was bad. And the insurance claim that came after that, oh God, it was bad, guys. And so that was another point that, you know, really, really affected me emotionally and didn't make me stable enough to carry on being there. This has nothing to do with the US, but because Las Vegas is like a tourist city, there's so many people on there with international licenses, and the driving was just reckless. So I won't blame that on the US. It is just Las Vegas, to be precise. The next thing that, you know, really, really, really pushed me was the cultural shock. I had a serious culture shock when I got to the US because so many things. US is like a whole continent on their own. They have their own mind and the way they do things, like completely different from the world, in my opinion. They're so different. It's unbelievable. You can see someone in the US and then in discussion you ask them, do you know, have you ever heard about UK? They're like, what's that? What? You've never heard about the United Kingdom? They never heard it, they don't care, and they don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I found that to be very, very weird. Not just that, so many things, like they're not open to so many things, and they can't be bothered because they believe that, you know, where they are is the world, and that's it. They don't want to know. You won't believe there are people actually living in the US that do not even know the country that's next to US. Like, it is that serious. And that shocked me so much. And the fact that these people, most of them, were not open to other cultures. They will act like they can't hear you when you're speaking in your own accent, and it was really bad. You go to a shop, you speak to a shop attendant, and they'll be like, huh, like making you feel like, I'm speaking English. What's the ha for? Like, guys, it was a serious cultural shock, and this is something I hardly ever experienced in the UK. It made me keep missing the UK over and over and over again. Like, guys, memories. So following up from the culture shock, another thing that stood out was racism. I wouldn't call everyone in the US racist because, you know what? The first day I landed in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and the immigration officer that, you know, actually took care of me was one of the nicest people I have ever met in my life. Like, I have never felt welcome in a country like how that immigration officer made me feel. Going to the US was quite an emotional moment for me because I had never been there and I didn't know what the future held for me while I was going there. So when I was at immigration, I was down. I was crying so much on the plane because I was gonna miss my parents. I was gonna miss my mom and my siblings. So I was so down throughout the flights, and when I came down, the officer saw me and said, "Oh, you don't look happy. What's wrong?" I was like, "I'm gonna miss my family." And he said, "Don't worry, America will take care of you." That's what he said to me, and those words stood out. I always remember it, and he was one of the loveliest people I ever met when I arrived in the US. So I wouldn't say everyone, but some people were so racist. They will look down on you just because you do not have an American accent. They would look at you some type of way just because they know you're not Native American, if that makes sense. And people were openly racist and not care what you think about it, you know. Whereas in the UK, it's like a big deal. Like, racism is not embraced anywhere here. Don't get me wrong, we do have people who are racist here in the UK, but like I said, like they're like racist low key. But in the US, it's normal, and that was really weird to me, to be honest, guys. It was really weird. And me coming from a black background, it was like, even the racism, sometimes you get that at work, you know, having this shown in your face at work, when you go shopping, everywhere you go, you just see these people. The moment you speak, they're like, who's this? It didn't make me feel like a part of that, the community or the society. Another point that was a really big worry for me as a woman, I was thinking about, family life and the sort of environment where I was working. It exposed me to so much inadequacies when it comes to how a lot of kids are raised in the United States. And that scared me so much, because the last thing I would want is for my kids to grow up not having the norms and the ethics of, the African child, of being respectful, of doing the right thing, not going into drugs and going into gun crimes and stuff like that. That scared me so much, and I really didn't want to have my children in an environment where I do not have control at all. And like I said, I probably wouldn't have had this in mind if I wasn't working where I was working. So the whole thing is surrounded around where I was working, how I got to the US, the sort of people that I found. Maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't have this perception about the US if I wasn't based where I was based, and if I wasn't bamboozled into coming there, if that makes sense. So these are just the things that happened. So when was the game changer for me? When my parents came to see me, and obviously I wasn't emotionally stable, I just wasn't myself. So my dad called me one evening and said to me, Sandra, I don't think this is not the daughter that left Ghana to come to the US. What's wrong with you? So I took my time and explained to him how toxic where I was working was, how unhappy I was, and so many issues that came up, and I was just unstable, and it just wasn't right. It was affecting me psychologically. So my dad said, you know what? Just make up your mind and leave if you think that this is not a place for you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave if only I'm not able to find a university to do my master's degree. So in searching for master's degree courses, I realized that in the US, it was way more expensive than in the UK, because average master's degree programs in the US range from $20,000 up onto even $50,000, depending on what university you wanted to go to. So in trying to find where to further my education, I found it more affordable. And then in checking, doing comparisons and doing my research, I realized that I'm better off doing it here. Besides the fact that it's cheaper, obviously, it's going to be more impactful for me, and I am someone that loves the UK culture, so why not? So that was what finally I got admission to my university here in the UK, and I was given partial scholarship, and that was it. I was like, I'm done. Goodbye, US. It wasn't an easy decision to take, but I did take it because I thought about the bigger picture, and I thought about all these reasons that I've spoken to you guys about today. Before my American subscribers come for me, I've got positive things about the US that I'll forever ever cherish. America is very beautiful. Very, very beautiful country to behold, to be honest. It is more beautiful than the UK, hands down. Like, it is very beautiful. And another thing that I love so much is the size of the properties in America. Compared to the UK, though we've got, properties in the UK that are big, compared to the US, most of the properties are very good size and very comfy. And this is something that I'll forever miss, but yeah. Another thing is the optimistic and the confidence behavior of people in the US. People in the US are very, very, very confident. Like, you can't beat them to that. They are very confident people. And if you live in the US for a very long time, this could help you very much to also build that optimism and that confidence that the people in the country, have. Unlike UK, that is so, concentrated on your work experience, in the US, though work experience is also important, they do pay you according to your college, your level of education. Let me give you an example. In the US, if you have a degree and you even having the same job title with someone in the same workplace, you with the degree will be paid more than someone who hasn't got a degree. Whereas in the UK, it's same, you know, same wage for everyone as long as it's the same job title, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that is also a very good thing. Though I was working care, I was still getting paid more than my colleagues that only had, you know, high school diploma or whatever. That brings me to the point that they've got a lot of work opportunities in the US and the pay is very good. Another thing I miss about the US so much is the clothing. I can't say much for the male clothing, but for the female clothing, and being a plus size woman, I enjoyed going to the shops because every shop I go, I find what's for me. Whereas in the UK, oh my god, it's like a crime being plus size here, and you don't easily find clothes that fit. But in the US, I would go into a shop and buy whatever it is I want because I do get my size. Not the greatest of things, but yeah, I do really miss their fashion. Most of the shops and outlets in the US are open 24/7. If you want to grab food at the Wendy's or McDonald's or many of the shops, Wawa, there's so many shops on there that are open 24/7, and that convenience alone is really great. I love that. They've got really, really beautiful beaches. I will attach a picture of one of my visits to the beach. So you see, it was really nice. They've got really beautiful beaches. And if you find yourself in the States where they've got summer all year round, it's a beauty to behold. Really beautiful and lovely. The last but my favorite is the food. Oh my goodness. The food is good. Like, a size of a burger in the US compared to the UK, although it's the same shop, like maybe a McDonald's. In the US, everything is big. In Alabama, everything is big and the food tastes good. They're Chinese. They eat as much, like their food is really nice, and I miss that a lot most of the time. So these are the positive things about the US, and if you're considering moving to the US, I believe you should look more into the positives. Think about the negatives and ways and means to deal with it if you find yourself there. And then it is beautiful. Okay, I hope there wasn't so much blubbing in my video. I tried to summarize it as much as I can so that this video would not be too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've got any experience like I have, please leave it in a comment below. If you think, whatever it is you think about my experience, leave it in the comment below. If you still believe that America is where you really want to live, let me know why, okay? Because I'm really, really interested to know. I want to have different perspectives, and then maybe, just maybe, my perception about the US might change later. No idea, but yeah, this is just me. This is my story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have stayed on up until this point, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the bell notification so that you will be the first to know once I upload a video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one, and it's bye.